Playing your thought processes.
Oh, tell me more about your feelings. How you feel about me? I don't care, bro. I'm not trying to date you. I date hot chicks, not globeheads. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, man. Merle is QE's boy, bro.
Oh,
You guys don't know. QE loves Merle.
He doesn't even know who he's talking to.
Like,
That's what's so funny.
You don't know who you're
talking about other flat earthers.
I do, dude.
No, you don't.
When you
You've
hang out
only
with
seen
chicks,
what
do
you've
you guys
seen
talk
on
about
TV.
flat earthers? Do you guys talk about me when you hang out with chicks?
Raqia, I know this guy.
Yeah,
I've spoken to him a few times, yeah. He just doesn't remember.
No, you don't know me,
Spoken to him a few times.
He just doesn't remember because he's a dumb narcissist.
He talked to me,
being
so
ridiculous.
he knows me.
Yeah,
You just
that's
insulted me, bro.
ridiculous. What you just
Yeah,
said
you
is
deserve
ridiculous,
it. You deserve it. You come in here, you think
Oh
you're
my
the shit.
God.
You come in here, you think you're the shit.
Oh,
Just
sorry.
fucking go have a wank with your boyfriend.
Can we move
No one
on,
gives a
please?
fuck, dude.
Merle,
This
you're
guy is
disgracing
so
yourself.
sad.
I'm not disgracing anything.
you are.
If you guys
Yes,
think
you are.
that this guy's the shit, go check yourself.
If you think we're gonna listen to your opinion when you're acting like this,
What am I
Hey.
acting like?
just what you're doing.
What am I
Hey,
acting like?
Who do you think you are?
I know exactly who I am.
Then quit telling me what to think about Nathan.
Yeah, he said
I'm not telling you how to think.
Hey, shut the hell up about Nathan. Well, let's talk about something that means something, not your feelings.
It's not about my feelings.
Oh my God.
I'm saying that now he's found the truth, does he have a responsibility to be responsible with it? Which he isn't, and he doesn't display that at any time
That's your
on any
opinion.
given day.
That's your opinion.
That's your
Cool story,
opinion.
though. Don't be. I didn't ask you. Sorry.
I mean, this is the top flat Earth tier. This
That's
is
your
the
opinion.
big cheese.
That's also your opinion.
He stated that he's the flat Earth A-list.
But
Look at how they behave.
I didn't.
Look
say
at
that.
how
I
they
didn't say that
behave.
once. This is all being recorded. I didn't say that once. So now you're just making shit up. You're just.
You did say that. Don't you have the biggest flat Earth server in the world?
I used to run the largest research group in the world. That's a fact. Okay, it's not a feeling. Now, how you feel about it, nobody cares. So shut the fuck up.
You're not. You don't have the right. You don't have the right to speak to me like that.
No, you don't have the right to just tell me how you feel about
So,
it. Okay. Shut up, dude.
do you know how to spell respect?
Merle, can we move on, man?
Yeah, can we move
No,
on?
because we can't move
I'll
on
see you guys
because
later. This guy's
the-
he's too.
the reason is
You're too
if you want respect,
you got to get over me, dude.
if you
You're
want
too-
respect, show respect. If you
way
want
too-
respect, show respect. Until you do that, you're shit. You're nothing. You're scum. Just
Well,
like the
thanks for-
rest of the
thanks-
people you think are scum.
Thanks for
We
showing.
heard
Thanks
you.
for showing me. some
Was-
No
respect.
problem. Anytime.
Wait. I'm
No,
a
go on mute.
Glober. I'm a Glober, and I would like to hear why was thinking that way. I genuinely don't know because currently, I've found myself relating to flat earthers. I didn't think it would happen, but I actually find myself relating to flat earthers. So if you just can explain why you're attacking these guys, I
Yossi,
probably missed. Yeah, I'm listening.
Yossi, I'm was. That's not was.
Sorry, I apologize.
For fuck's sake, mate. Come on.
No, I just saw your green thing. So sorry.
That is Merle.
No,
Merle was
whoever.
attacking Nathan.
Yeah. Can you explain because
No
people
worries.
are joining? No one understands what's happening. Like,
I didn't attack Nathan. I just asked him to show some respect. The guy wouldn't even understand what respect is because he doesn't have any.
Yeah, so you starting to feel that flat Earth or what?
no, I mean in this particular case, I just came in and I'm just hearing someone talking about Nathan personalities and asking myself why is it being done. So this is why I'm asking
Oh,
this
this
question.
don't have nothing. This don't have nothing to do with flat Earth. This is some
Because
other
he's
shit.
put himself up on a pedestal as Merle and given us his opinion about Nathan, which no one should ever do. And when the whole group is telling him to be quiet, he still keeps on about how he's not forming an opinion about Nathan by forming an opinion about Nathan and spouting it out
Classic
to
cult
everybody.
behavior. Classic cult behavior. Check it.
Yeah, what you're doing is classic cult behavior. Yeah.
Classic cult behavior. I stand on my
No.
own 2 feet. I know exactly who I am. None of you represent me. That's
so
it.
So do I, son. That's why I don't need you to
I'm
tell
not
me
your
what
son.
You think, what you think
Not your
about
son.
Nathan.
Not your son.
So
Hold
quit
on,
telling me
Merle.
what
Did you
think
say
Not
that
your
if we have
brother,
a thought of our
not
own,
your
we're
friend.
standing tall?
Just chill,
You
we're
don't
Merle.
know
not
me.
cult? Did you
Merle,
say
No.
just
that,
chill,
Merle?
bro.
Wait,
No.
wait, bro. Hey, by your standards, I've talked to you a couple of times on YouTube. I know you, like you know Nathan.
No,
So let me tell everybody about what I think about you, right? Wouldn't that
no
be
problem.
wrong? No, that would
Go
be
ahead.
wrong of me. No, that would be wrong of me. You've deemed it cult behavior, and you're
It
doing
is.
it. You're doing it against Nathan. It's
I'm not in your
ridiculous.
cult. I'm not in
Yeah.
your cult.
There's no cult.
No
Bro,
one's
there's
in a
no
cult,
cult.
bro.
Gang.
You need to go on mute, man. You made a fool out of yourself.
Chill, Merle. Yeah, just chill for a minute, Merle.
Don't expose the cult, right?
No,
There's no
don't be
cult.
a fool.
Don't expose the shill network, right?
Nope, don't be
No,
a
Merle,
fool.
you're
and express your
overreacting, bro.
opinion.
Wow.
You're overreacting.
Merle, we're all
I'm
on the
with
same
you.
side, bro.
Most
Shill
of the time
network
it
on
makes
hate.
sense, but you're
Let's bring the
overreacting
hate.
today, Merle.
Let's bring the heat. Everyone in this room knows what's up.
We're bringing the heat against you, Merle. You notice it?
I'm not on lock. Nathan is, not me.
Everyone
Not
is
today,
turning
son.
up the heat under
Not
you.
today,
Don't
son.
I'm not
So
your
what do you
son. I'm
object
not your
about
Not
Nathan?
today,
Is it
son.
his style? What is it? Is it his that he talks to children? Go ahead, tell us. What do you object about Nathan?
Might be some of those things, yeah.
Might be.
Particularly his
Well, that
style
was
or that he
specific.
talks to children? Because I'm sure it's one of those. Go ahead. Which one?
That might actually stem from younger problems in life.
I asked him a reasonable question and he dismissed me like I was dog shit on his shoe.
Because I didn't pay attention to you. That makes me.
No, you
terrible
dismissed me like I was dog
makes me
shit on your
dangerous.
shoe. And
I'm
you're
dangerous.
a cunt and you know
person.
it.
There you go. Talking about.
I'm going to
feelings.
dismiss
Name
you
call.
from now, Merle, because of the way you're
I
acting
finally
right now.
agree with Mel on something.
Get along and fucking switch the
I can't
topic.
believe the Glovers are showing their feels in 2021, bro. You guys don't have anything better to do.
Look at Merle's cult coming together to support him.
What cult?
Hey,
What
hey,
cult
I'm
would
not,
that
I'm
be?
not a, I'm not
Can I
a
not
part
just
of
say
any
this is
cult.
one of
please.
the only
I'm not a
things I
part
think
of
I'd
any
agree
cult.
with Mel on?
Merle, understand that there's personalities that you're never gonna get along with. That's the way Nathan is. That's his style. He's in your face. He's polite. And yes, he talks to some children. Now, what's the problem? Is this a clash of personalities? What?
Did I steal your girlfriend?
What did I tell me what I asked you?
You got
If you remember.
I stole his girlfriend, guys. That's
Goldfish brain. Repeat my question.
Another attack.
I got an elephant's memory on you. So repeat my question.
Another putting myself above Nathan.
Yeah, you would have to assume I pay attention to you. I don't pay attention
Hey,
to you. I
ego
think you're
boy,
stupid,
repeat
bro.
my question.
Hey, bro, I don't pay attention to you. I think you're stupid, bro.
Good for you. My question was for you. Now you
Nobody
found
cares.
the truth.
Nobody
Now you
cares.
found I care.
I answered that
Now
question.
you found the truth.
I answered
Do
that
you have a responsibility to be responsible with it? Yes or no?
Everyone has a responsibility with the truth, bud. That's why I've been running the largest research group, doing activism, public speaking, making flyers, mailing flyers, giving away flyers for the last 5 years. Now, you want to tell me how you feel about me again?
How's that being responsible with the truth?
Will you lead by example? How about that?
What do you think he should do, Merle? Tell him. What do you think he should do to gain
tell
your
me, Merle.
approval?
I'll take notes. I got a pen and paper. Go ahead, Merle. What should I be doing?
Should he act like more like you, Merle?
You should be minding your own fucking business, cunt.
Yeah, listen.
Oh, okay. So
guy.
NASA's
We
stealing
should be
money
more
and
like him.
lying to all my friends' kids. That's not my business. We are our brother's keeper, aren't we?
It's none of your business, G.
Oh, so NASA's stealing my tax money and lying to all my friends and their children.
Go tell
Somehow I don't
NASA.
think you pay taxes.
Go cry to NASA.
Okay, so go credit NASA. That's what I should do.
Yeah. Direct the energy where the energy needs to be directed.
Cool. Well, I went there yesterday, literally, and filmed a space launch. So I'm already doing that. Do you have any other advice?
Well, that's great. I'm glad you're doing that.
I mean, you're telling me to do things I'm already doing. So how stupid are you? Duh.
Hey, dude. Hey, dude, if I caught you talking to my kids and what I've seen of you,
Oh, here we go.
I'd kick fuck out of you.
I'm sure you would, bro. I'm sure you'd just toss me around.
I
like a rag doll.
definitely
What
would.
you do.
I'd
Yeah.
kick fuck out of you,
For
mate.
sure, bro. I bet
And
you.
that's just someone from Australia
Bro.
letting you know that you have no right to approach
There
other
we go.
people's children
Oh, okay. Thanks.
with what you think you need to tell them. Who are you, dude?
You have no right to tell me.
Yeah, you can mock me, you can impersonate
You're a
me.
crybaby.
You're a
crybaby.
fucking piece of shit. Everyone knows
Are
it.
you guys done listening to this guy cry? He's so boring.
No one's crying, man.
Yeah, you're crying about me.
You just
for like
need
a
to
half
get
hour.
checked. You just need to get checked for once.
Here we go. Half hour.
Yeah. No one's gonna bow to you in here, fuckhead.
I didn't ask you to. I don't expect you to either, dumbass. So you're just crying about me. Keep crying about me. It's cool.
Denmark's little boy.
Just go away and think about it, Nathan.
Okay, any other scientific questions from the audience, or do the gammas want to talk about feelings more?
Yes,
I have a question. What's at the center of the sun?
Vanilla ice cream.
So is that what flat earthers do then? Come in here and hide behind names, and then they can listen to people talking about stuff, and then they can go away back to their room and talk a lot of shit like they usually do.
So you didn't like my question, I gather. Okay.
Oh, no, I didn't hear your question. Sorry. Give me
What's
your
at the
question
center
again.
of the sun?
What's at the center of the sun? Fucking hell, I have no idea. I know it's made up of fucking hydrogen and helium and that sort of shit, but I don't know what's at the center of it.
You don't know that for
you'll
sure.
never know.
How do you know it's made of hydrogen and helium at the center, one fusing into the other? Is it
We
because
measured
somebody
it with a
told you?
laser. It's like a mass spectrometer. You fire a laser at it, it comes back with a reading and says, yeah, mainly hydrogen and helium. There you go.
A laser comes back
from
with
the
a reading?
light size and then
Yeah, like mass spectrometry does. Comes back with a reading. It gives you the fucking graph and tells you what's in that specific fucking gas or what's in that specific mineral. We use fucking ultraviolet infraspectrometry for looking at things like dating things now. You know, we look at the amount of ultraviolet radiation that the crystal or the actual object has absorbed over its lifetime to tell you how old it is now. I mean, carbon dating's pretty old as a fucking way of looking at something's age. I mean, you know, ultraviolet infraspectrometry is a fucking big word, but yeah, we use that now.
Cool
These big
story,
words, I
bro.
love
Did you
it,
know
yeah.
that they were off by 100 million miles approximately in their various guesses, from 3 million to 104 million, and now it's 93 million? Were you aware
I
of that?
mean, science isn't fucking exact, is it? We're inventing new things every day to measure these things, and we're coming up with new instruments every day, and new types of glass, and new types of plastic, and all these things can be used to measure these things. It's just we haven't put the technology together yet.
So
So
the
in
cause
20
effect
years
is
from
changing.
now, when our technology is better, is the sun gonna be like 140 million miles away?
I don't know how far away it's
So
going to be,
if your
mate. It's going to
science
be the
is
distance
changing-
that it is, you know?
If your science is changing and evolving, you're not very good at doing science because that
Without
means the
refraction and
cause of your
fucking...
effect is changing,
Oh, if
bro.
it's changing
How
and
goofy
evolving,
is
you're
that?
constantly learning. You're not going backwards.
You've got to know what the refractive angle and refractive index is of the atmosphere if you want to fire a laser through it. You know, you've got to account for that. You've got to do a little bit of math, and then
but you don't have
once
to
you
account
know
for the
what
curve,
the
right?
angle output of it is, you
you have
can
to account for the
pretty
air,
much
but you don't have
use
to account for the
target,
curve,
yeah.
right? Yeah, you have to account for the air, but you don't have to account for the curve, right?
The spectroscopy thing is done in a isolated environment here on Earth, and then you want to shoot it at a sun, God knows how far away, and think you're getting an accurate result. It's fucking ridiculous.
Jeremy, it's not shot at the sun.
No, you're not going to get an accurate result, but you're going to get like an outline idea of what its constituent fucking properties are. You know what I mean? It won't give you a
Which is a
exact
fancy
readings.
way to know you don't know nothing. That's just a fancy way of
Nobody
saying we
fucking
don't know
knows.
Hey,
Well said.
let's just, briefly get over what the spectroscopy thing is, because it is the light that is given off by certain materials.
A pile of shit that fits your narrative.
If you have a light bulb, a neon light that is filled with specific elements, it's going to give off the specific spectroscopical frequencies that you can detect. And if you have a different element in a different one, it's going to give off another light.
Yeah, they give off different spectrums of light. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that whatever spectrum is fixed in the element. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome story. Based on what? The elements here on Earth, right?
Well, based on the elements on Earth. Yeah.
Observed on Earth and in space, yes. Based on those elements, the elements of the periodic table.
We know crystal give us a refractive angle of all the colours of the rainbow, so we tend to use crystals as refractive fucking machines, you know, refractive instruments. We polish the surface, set it at a specific angle, and it'll refract fucking images the right way up for us. We use those in telescopes and in fucking, more so much as binoculars, than we do telescopes, but it's the same principle in a telescope. You're still using a mirror to right the angle of the fucking image the right way up, you know, because everything's upside down if you look at it properly.
Hey, did you know that Newton had 2 goes at it? One was 28 million and the other one was 34 or something like that?
Yeah,
Newton, your boy,
they all
had 2 guesses of the distance of the sun.
Yes.
And both of them wrong.
SE Montreal, the interesting thing is that when I tried to boot up his laptop, you know, I got a third result off it. You know,
I'm sure you did.
Yeah, it seems to be horse drawn.
Brother.
You know,
Helios. Keep believing.
Yeah. SE, when did Newton live?
About 400 years ago.
About 400 years ago. And about 400 years ago, did they have, I don't know, cars, airplanes, shit like that? Laptops, decent binoculars?
Your point being?
My point being that maybe he couldn't get a better result. And actually, as he tried, he got a slightly better result, but it wasn't perfect.
But that was the accepted science of the day, right?
Then they had to use math to explain it.
If you would have asked anybody around that time and you told them it's not that distance, they would have called you stupid, right? Like you're doing was today. Correct?
His findings.
Correct? Yes or no?
No, not correct. You see, if you at the time had
to explain his findings.
Hey,
people
can I
ridiculed
just
him.
briefly answer
that, I guarantee it.
You had to fucking invent calculus to explain gravity. There you go.
Yeah, but once that distance was accepted, and anybody going there and questioning it, they would have been ridiculed like you're trying to do to us today, correct?
No, SE,
No, it's not ridicule. It's just a scientific fucking observation and explanation of somebody else's scientific fucking observation and explanation. It's not exactly fucking rocket science. It's just a repeat.
That's what we're trying to tell you. They got it wrong.
Can I get my answer to that?
Yeah,
can I get my answer to that? Just
man.
Briefly. Because at the time, well, if he got 54 million? Yeah, whatever. You know, at the time, if
his
you
first
just
one was 28, and his second guess was 54. You asked.
Yeah, 54. Yeah, okay, that was his second. Good. And at the time, if you went, nuh-uh, yeah, they would laugh at you. At the time, if you went, well, I measured this way and got this result, then there would be a debate. And here comes the real kicker, is that you didn't measure, so you don't know.
No, the real kicker is there's no way to verify. You're just not understanding, dude. You just
There is
don't get
plenty
it.
of ways to verify.
You just don't get it.
There is plenty of ways to verify. There's people measuring the distance to the sun practically daily, at least for learning how to do it. And people coming up with new ways of measuring astronomical distances. Almost daily.
So back to the question, the original question, the core of the sun. How do they know this?
Like I said in the original answer, we do not know exactly what is in the core of the sun, but we do know a lot of its makeup because we know the distance, the size, and the energy output.
Negative. You're spiraling. You're going backwards again.
I'm not spiraling. I'm telling you the answer that I've given you all the time. That's not spiraling.
And let me give you the rebuttal. There's absolutely no way that they know what's at the core of something 93 million miles away when right beneath their feet, they dug 8 miles and they got it wrong. Do you understand this?
No, they didn't get it wrong, is he? That what you don't understand here is they did dig 8 miles to verify what they thought. and they found out, well, what they thought wasn't entirely accurate, and then they corrected it, and now they know better.
That's a fancy way of saying they got it wrong, right?
No, that's a fancy way of saying they checked and now they know better.
Are you guys listening to this?
You don't get that.
Not really.
The whole experiment and testing of things very much says that when you have a prediction, you test it, and when you test it, you find out maybe you're right or maybe you're wrong.
So tell me, how did they test their prediction that the sun is a thermonuclear or fission, whatever they say, that converts helium to hydrogen, or the other way around? How did they test that theory? Please tell me.
That part is absolutely established because of its size and energy output. You know, it is a fusion reactor. That is simple fact.
Shut up, dude. You don't know anything. You haven't done any tests on the sun.
I do know that is a fusion reactor.
He just asked you, how did you test that? And you're like, this is what we know. How did you test it? How do you know it? Can you be specific?
We haven't personally tested it. That's a silly idea.
If you know the size and the energy output, then you know what
process. Oh, you know the size.
If you know the size and the energy output,
you don't know the size.
What processes would cause it to?
But you don't know the size.
Energy.
So
and that process is called fusion.
You just expose yourself. You don't know the size.
I do.
Okay, how do you know the size of the sun?
Astronomy.
Whoa, astronomy. Do you hear this, guys? He's going to say he knows the size of the sun by astronomy. Okay? That's your proof.
Yep, it's comical.
It's hilarious. Do you sound retarded?
We can see the sun. We can work out the size of things that we can see.
We have measured the distance to it. We can see how large it is angularly, and we can...
We measured... So when you say we, do you mean I and other people, like how Austin and I go?
No, we mean the human race. We mean the human race. We do not mean
the human race.
Personally.
Okay, got you. So there's like some kind of measurement done. Can you show me the measurement for the distance to the sun, please, in the chat? Could you post that?
No,
you can't, because it's not doesn't exist. So
you honestly think that's true? Do you honestly think that that's true? That the 93 million miles is just somebody's hope. It's just they just think of a number. We've got no idea on this one. Never measured it. We haven't got a clue on this. Just think of a number. Do you honestly think that that's likely to be true, Nathan?
Do you know how many times it changed from 93 million, Jim? Do you have any idea?
Several. So
okay,
what?
So all the other times.
So do you only accept
right,
things?
Right?
So do you only accept things to be true if they're things that we know every possible thing there is to know about them from the outset?
Jim, Jim, can I talk now? Can I talk now?
No, I'm pointing out
I'm
pointing out the absurdity of what you're saying.
No,
you're saying that because our knowledge of this has improved over time. Because can you shut the fuck up, you idiot?
Yeah, I could, but you're just forming a
Well, I'll make it easy for you if you like. Because our knowledge of this has improved over time, therefore that means we've got no knowledge of it. That's absurd.
Okay, how do we have the knowledge? It's 93 million miles away, Jim. Go ahead, tell everyone.
Through measurement.
How did you measure it, Jim?
I did not measure it.
Oh, okay, so you didn't, but who did?
Oh, you see, Nathan, by now we can ping
Jim,
it.
who measured it? You said we've measured it. It's 93 million miles. We know it, and then you tried to straw man an argument.
We can measure it now by bouncing radar off it. Originally, by observing the transit of Venus.
Yeah. So now we bounce radar off the sun 93 million miles away, but we used to look at Venus, is what you're saying, Jim.
Yes, technology has improved to a
That
degree.
isn't what I said, no. That is disingenuous. That is a disingenuous reinterpretation of what I said.
I asked you a question.
Yes, and I'm replying to your question. And your question was, so you're saying this, and I'm saying, and I'm answering your question, and the answer to your question is no. I am not saying that. That is a disingenuous. That is a disingenuous reinterpretation of what I said.
Asked you, Jim, is this what your argument is?
Yes, and again,
bounce lasers off the radar.
And again, no, that is not what my argument is. That's a disingenuous reinterpretation of what I said. So have we got that straight now? Because I have repeated it 3 times. I hope it's sunk in. Go ahead.
Yeah, we heard you the 5 times you said it, Jim. Could you just clarify what your
Well,
argument
why
is?
do you keep
We're all
asking
trying
the
to figure
same
it out.
question over again then?
Well, that got quiet all of a sudden.
You see, back in
Jimbo,
the day,
hello. What is your
early
argument
on-
for how we measured the distance to the sun, Jimbo?
let me explain how we
What did
measure.
you miss? What did you miss in what I said, moron?
No, back in the day, early on, we measured the distance to Venus, and we knew it was orbiting the sun, and thus we could triangulate the distance to the sun. Then we got the radio signal. I'm explaining to you how we did it. You can interfere later.
Wait, you didn't do anything. So when you say
Then
we, I think
No.
you're speaking French.
No, again, when we say we mean the human race. Already
Okay.
clarified that, Nathan. Already been through it. And when you've said, what, so you measured it, pointed out to you again that
who
we
are the
didn't
scientists?
mean that.
Could you just
So I
tell me their
wonder
names?
why is this tactic necessary?
Could you tell me
Why
their
do
name?
you, when we say we, it's commonly understood what we mean. Commonly understood, that means humans in general. Why are you having to obfuscate around this point at least 3 times now? We've told you what it means. Why are you still pretending you don't know what it means? That's my question to you that I would like an answer to. I'm not just telling you off. I want to know why you were doing this.
All right, if you mute me again, I'll just roll out because nobody
Good,
wants
that'd
to
be
listen to you
great.
speak.
That'd be
Okay,
great.
Bye, see you
Fuck
later.
off now.
there
That'd
you
be
go,
awesome.
Everyone is asking me questions, Jim, not you. Nobody wants to hear you speak. Shut the
No
fuck
one's
up.
asking
You're
you
losing.
anything.
Okay, cool. Well, I was asking how you measure the distance to the sun.
And I was asking you why you are deploying these absurd tactics.
You're muting.
Do you
me.
have an
You're
answer to that
censoring me.
question?
You're censoring me. You're projecting and censoring me.
Poor little
So
nasty.
shut up, Jim.
You're
Shut up.
censoring me as well because you're trying to talk all over me every time I
No,
speak.
I'm not. Go ahead. Say whatever you want to say,
Exactly.
Jim. Let me know when you're done.
So, well, I've asked you the question.
How am I talking over you? You're muting me, you fucking retard.
Do I have to ask the question again? Okay, this is the question. Okay, 3 times now we've had to explain to you when we say we have measured the distance to the sun. 3 times we've had to clarify what that means.
And 3 times
Why?
I had to clarify.
Why
you
have we
guys
had to
don't do
clarify
anything.
that? Why have we had to clarify that 3 times in the space of about
I'm just
2 minutes?
clarifying, Jim. When you guys say we, you mean the people we believe, because you don't do fucking anything. You don't have any STDs.
No,
at
because
all.
that's absurd to do that, and
Oh,
you
it's
don't
absurd
do
to
that
touch the
either.
earth? It's
You
absurd to
believe
test
you
the
believe in
distance to the sun?
tens of thousands of things that you haven't personally tested,
No, well,
and
okay, what do I believe?
pretending
believe
that
that I'm
personally
testing, Jimbo?
testing things is
There you go.
required
Strawmanning
to
argument.
believe something to be true is absurd.
Jim, you're just strawmanning an argument. Take me to your leader, Jim. Someone who can actually form an argument. You're just strawmanning. Take me to your leader,
I'm
Jim.
just
Who's your leader?
pointing out
Give me-
just
who's a
pointing out
good
the
glober? Who should I go debate?
idiocy of your logic. That
Could
there
you
is
give me a
none.
name? Because I'm going to leave. Who's
That
a
you
glober
get-
I should go debate? Because it's not you.
You get
Who do you look up to, Jim?
stuck in the flat Earth narrative, and you
Who do
never
you get your
actually
globe
think
rhetoric from, Jim?
think through how
Can
silly
you
the
answer one
things
question,
are that
Jim,
you're
before I
saying.
leave, please?
Why are you
Before
talking
I leave-
over me?
Because I'm trying to ask you a question and then leave.
Okay, what's your question, idiot?
Since you are obviously not qualified to debate me, who should I go to? Who do you get your rhetoric from? Who do you look
Why
up
am I
to?
not
Take me to your-
qualified to debate you? How have
Take
you
me
made
to-
that? How have you
Jim,
made
who do
that
you learn shit from? Because
judgment?
you obviously don't test anything. So who do I go talk to? Who measured the distance to the sun? Give me a name.
Brick wall.
Again, well, you're missing my point, aren't you?
Give me a name. I asked you a question.
All right.
I don't want your
I'm not
point.
going to give you a name. I will point
Okay,
out
all right,
to
I'll
you.
see you guys later. Everyone have a
Bye.
nice day. If you want to jump
Bye.
over
Bye,
the
see you later.
27
Fuck off there.
I'll be in the 27 Discord if anyone wants to roll over there.
Get
I'm
your
not
going, get your going, bye-bye, see you later.
I won't get muted over
Everyone's
there.
desperate.
Bye.
Everyone's
Bye.
desperate to
Bye.
spend
Bye.
time with
Bye.
you, Nathan.
Bye. See you guys later. Follow the Clown World Tour.
Fuck off already.
Coming to a city near you. crybaby.
Fuck off
I
already.
thought you were going.
Oh, he's fucked off. Thank God.
So,
Sorry, guys, but just when I keep hearing these
Mate,
idiotic
No
tactics.
problem, Jim. We didn't want
it's
to come
always
to your
hilarious
VC
when he
and
comes
have
in
a
and you do that
conversation.
to him, Jim.
We wanted you to come in here and shut it down.
Oh,
No
what? So
problem.
you wanted to argue with Nathan Thompson, did you, Ricky?
No, I wanted to hear the argument and you shut it down. Thank you.
I just pointed out where he's being dishonest.
You know,
he
the
could do,
very thing that you've created,
he could,
a server where people can come hear the flat earth debate.
right,
And every
but
time it happens,
okay.
with one of the prominent flat earthers that are traveling the world right now, or country,
Prominent.
you come in there and shut it down.
One of the
Prominent
prominent
idiot.
flat earthers. Listen, he
Yeah, one
he
of the
was.
deemed by y'all. Y'all call him.
Listen,
a prominent
I
flat
can
earther.
engage in the
He is
debate.
traveling the country.
Shut
and
up.
He came in here and shut it down.
I can engage in the debate any way I want to. And if
You
I
didn't debate him.
shut up, if I see someone using this ridiculous tactic and they use it 3 times in the space of about 90 seconds, I think that's worth pointing out that there's a ridiculous tactic being deployed. That's part of the debate. He could have the debate without the ridiculous tactic, couldn't
So
he?
you're going to do that when your side does it too?
I might do, yes.
I doubt it. You're
I've called out my side many times.
Yeah, many
So
times.
don't,
Yeah, he has.
so,
Go into
so
defense mode.
don't pretend that that's not the case.
But this time in particular, it just happened to be Nathan, right? What a liar you are.
This time, just like yesterday with Bev, all we saw from Nathan was rhetorical techniques.
Lying
asking,
again.
Well, look, I explained to him. He said, "We? What do you mean we? Do you mean?" And I explained to him, when we say we mean generally the human race, an achievement of the human race. Probably 40 seconds later, he was making the same objection. And another 40 seconds after that, he was making the same objection again, after being corrected now for the 3rd time.
We all heard him. We all think he was wrong by doing that. We don't need you as our big holy grail father to come in here and tell us we're too dumb to
Nothing
recognize
about being
that.
a holy grail father. I'm a person who's in
you're
this
the
room.
leader.
I'm a person who's in this room like anybody else. I'm as
And so
entitled.
am I. You don't
I'm
have
as
to call me
entitled
dumb.
to take part as anybody else. You say
didn't take part, you just shut
you
it
were
down.
you were even recognizing what I was pointing out as a crappy tactic, and that
Absolutely.
deserved to be pointed out.
I recognize many.
Let's
tactics
face it.
that you don't
Let's
point
face
out.
it. There's nothing else in a flat Earth argument to point out anymore, is there?
I
All we can
recognize the
do,
tactic that you
do is expose the crappy tactics, because that's all there is.
I recognize the tactics that you're using right now,
Which is
just coming in,
which is
muting people,
trying to get a
suppressing the
sentence out
argument.
without being freaking interrupted by
As you cut me off to say that.
Yeah,
which is
well,
ironic.
You
yeah,
talk
well, I admit that I did it
through the
yeah,
last
well,
2 minutes
I
of my
admit that I
speech.
used the
So
tactic.
don't start
I
objecting
admit that
to that.
Dave was right and that he's pointing out a tactic that I so commonly use. I admit that he was right by pointing out a tactic when I asked him what tactics am I using. Yeah, you're great, Jim.
Can I briefly have a point here? Because I was asking Nathan what a model was, and you know,
other people can argue
he
about
went-
the evidence if they want to. Other people
Yeah,
want to do that, but I think these tactics are worth pointing out because that's all. Like I say, virtually that's all there is for flat Earth these days.
I was planning to support your point a little bit, but you obviously had to interfere with it right there. You see, I was asking what a model is in his understanding, and you know, he never he went directly to his tactics and, you know, played with the 6-pack and the boobs and shit like that. And then STDs, you know, he never actually answered the question, Raqia, and that is really why he's now being called out for being dishonest. It's not a hard question. What is a model in your understanding? You know,
Why is
that should
Raqia
be-
whining about muting when he's effectively muting people by talking over them?
Well, there's
Except
that.
for right now while Sword is spouting nonsense and I'm on mute.
Yeah, Sword spouts not.
Whiny little bitch, Curved.
Why
I'm
is
all
Curve
for-
whining about someone
I'm
whining?
all for booting Sword. Okay, we agree on that. I'm asking again, why do you whine about being muted when you're effectively trying to mute people with your microphone?
So what did
I'm
Rizzler
literally
do to
on
Bev
mute when
anyway
you
to
say
get
that.
rid of him?
It's not about that very second, Raqia. You've got a notorious history of doing this.
Yeah, I tend to talk over people when they talk over me and
here.
call me an idiot, liar, and fat. Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, notorious history comes from when
That's
people call
not
me
when
fat
it
and a
happens,
liar.
Raqia.
As you overtalk me, you lying,
Raqia,
fat
Curve
mong.
lighting up. I don't
you
hear
were
anything.
just doing it with Jem.
I'm muted. I bet I'm muted.
You're doing it to me right now as I go on mute again. You mean as Jim was talking over me as I was pointing out the tactics that he was using as talking over people and muting them? You mean that time, Curved? We can do this
No.
all day. You think you're going to outwit me?
Such a victim mentality.
Still
I
mindset.
don't
think
even
I'm
need to
fat,
try.
Curved? You still think I'm fat, Curved?
We know you're fat, and we know you just outwitted
You know
yourself.
shit. You know
So
what
it's
people
ad
have
hom
told you
time,
or what
right?
you
Ad
think
hom
you
time.
know.
I get it.
You don't think you've been misled?
We know
What
you.
I don't think we
joke.
really. I don't think we
Hey,
really care about your body.
What a
weight,
joke
do
you
we?
are.
Yeah, good on you. You see, Raqia, this is why we can't have rational discussions, because
No, this is
you
why you're easily fooled.
you make it all about you. You know, you
No.
do the exact opposite of chemo and make it all about you, that we really, really
Wrong.
care about you and your family and shit like that.
Wrong.
No, we don't. Well, tell me, what is a model then?
A model is someone who walks down a runway and models clothes to me.
Yes, and now you're being called out by Jem in a second for obfuscating. What else you got?
You asked me what a model was, and
Oh, come on. You can do better. Be charitable.
That's the
Try
first thing
to,
that came. That's
try
the first
to
thing that came to my mind.
understand. It's
I've
just
never-
being obtuse, Raqia.
Yeah, I've talked about models before. I can build a model of what I perceive the flat Earth to be.
Can you now?
Yeah, I can
Let's see
take I can take a block of clay. I can pound it out with upturned edges with some higher parts in the middle, representing the land and the mountains, and I can fill it with water. I've clearly stated that in the past. Where have you been?
And Raqia,
Yeah,
when,
make the
when that,
sunrise and sunset
hey,
work on Australia
on.
here then.
Can he
I can
turn it
put a-
upside down and have the water stick to his model?
Why would I
Because
turn
the
it upside
water is
down? My
attracted to his
model
model.
is not turned upside down. My model's a
Why
flat
can't
plane.
you turn it upside down and have the water attracted to your model?
Why would I? That's not my model. You're
Why
being
would you
ridiculous.
pour water on a basketball and expect it to stick like the earth?
You're talking about your model. I'm talking about my model.
I'm talking about both and how ridiculous your
Yeah, one
expectations
works
are,
and one doesn't.
and pointing out how you can't do what you expect of ours. Your
Yeah,
model.
What's more ridiculous,
would
water
I?
clinging in
It's
a
not my
bowl or
model.
water clinging to a ball spinning? What's more proper?
Is that a question?
So see how Curve, see this tactic, Jim, that Curved is using here? He came in and talked about something I wasn't talking about. I was clearly asked a question about my model of flat Earth. I started representing that model. I was going to take it further, and Curved used a tactic commonly done by Globers, and Jim doesn't do anything about it. Maybe he needs to do
What
it 3
tactic?
times.
He wasn't
Give it
responding to
time,
you, was
Jim.
he?
He will.
He wasn't responding to you. He was responding to SE. And what
You mean
tactic-
when he said Raqia? You mean when he used my
No.
name? You don't think
About
he was
him turning the
responding
model
to me?
upside down
Another
and having
common
the water.
tactic.
I thought he was responding to SE.
used by
Okay, so
Globers
what
such as Jim and Kurt.
what tactic are you identifying?
Obfuscating and lying.
How did he obfuscate? Okay, what
No,
lie
you
did he
did.
tell?
You did, Jim.
Okay, what lie did I tell?
You said he didn't address me when he used my name.
Okay, I made a mistake and said, "Oh, I thought
Okay,
he was
fair enough.
addressing."
You weren't lying that time. You
Right.
made a mistake,
Okay.
as you
So let's get
commonly
back
did.
to Curved. What tactic did he deploy?
He switched it from the model that I was talking about, which I was very expressly asked about, how I see what a model is, and I started modeling flat Earth. He immediately asked me things in his fantasy world. Why doesn't my model do things that his fantasy model does?
That was
Like
clearly
water
How's
wasn't
being
that a
what I was
upside
talking
tactic?
down.
You're
No, that's
talking
not what I
about a model. You're talking
'Cause he-
about a model. Curved is challenging it. How is that a tactic?
He's not challenging me. He's trying to put words in my mouth and
No, I'm not.
change it to what
No,
he
I'm
wants
not.
to talk about.
I think
Putting
he's
out
trying
a
to put
short
reality
version of
in
your
your
model.
mouth.
No, it's not reality. Reality is that water can be put in the container and it finds its level when undisturbed. That's what I was describing in my model, which I easily can do any day.
Yes, it's
You make it
evidently
work.
curved level. That's all interesting. But you see, the point here, Raqia, is that your model does not stand alone, as does ours not. You know,
Never said it
doesn't-
did.
Yeah, so it only actually works on Earth, right? It only
No, it
actually
don't.
works with a down that is the Earth you're standing
Yeah,
on.
that's called reality. On Earth, up and down reality. Yeah, and I can also put a container over the top of it, introduce some water in it, and with some heat sources and cooling sources, and it would do exactly what we see here too.
You're gonna get the sun
Condensate,
path wrong on it, though. How is
create
that?
gases, let things grow.
Raqia, when you add the sun to that model that is flat and level on your table there, you're gonna get the sun path wrong.
Oh, you're talking about projection of the light that's in the sky? Yeah, I don't quite have that figured out. I don't really even study it.
No. Well, you see, our model does explain that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you see, a model is supposed to contain everything you can observe and quantify. And our model, incidentally, happens to have, stuff like the size of things and the distances and all that. And it seems to work.
Seems to
It
work.
also
Yeah,
explains, it explains the way the sun moves here in Australia really well, actually.
Yeah, but you're assuming you know exactly what the sun is, what distance it is, how it's being projected.
Well,
You
it's
assume
not
all
that we
the.
assume.
You cut me
No,
off.
no,
It's
we
a common
know,
tactic.
and it explains the movement of the sun here in Australia from sunrise to sunset. Does it perfectly, as a matter of fact.
Right, assuming that to each viewer.
No, it's not an
You cut me
assumption.
off
It's
again, a common
knowledge,
tactic.
Dave. No, it's knowledge, not an assumption whatsoever.
So I think you got to let him finish, though. He only got 2 words out.
Sorry,
twice,
mate.
and you
Well,
cut him off.
it is, Dave.
Twice in a row, actually. Yeah, well,
All
it's,
right, get on with it.
like I said, the assumptions being made are telling you, and because you can make predictions on your model due to those assumptions doesn't make it correct. So even in your current scientific beliefs,
Wow,
10 years
you're
from now, if
dense.
you cut me off again, it's the 3rd time. It's okay.
Oh, fuck off. You do it all the time.
Raqia, I have a question. When you're leaving your house in the morning, are you making assumptions?
Yeah.
Would you say that?
Yes.
Yeah, that, for example, that the bus driver is really not trying to commit suicide and throwing the bus off a bridge, right?
Yes.
And there are other
Already
assumptions.
Are you
that-
serious, dude? Are
that
you serious?
that the road will not suddenly collapse under you.
I've already answered
because
5
of a-
times now. Yes.
Okay, so it's not about making assumptions, it's about if these assumptions are justified, right?
No, what you're explaining has nothing to do with assuming and fitting a model. If I was
Yeah,
trying to model,
exactly.
if I was trying to model my way to work, right, and I assumed that the bus driver was going to commit suicide and run into a head-on collision to whoever was driving me, that would be a stupid assumption, right? It has nothing to do with modeling my way to work.
But you're assuming that he
It's a
doesn't do that.
ridiculous argument. We
right?
can move on.
It's not.
You're
It's
assuming
very-
that he doesn't do it, right? Because you're boarding the bus. So it's
For
not
the
about
7th
assumption.
time, yes.
Okay,
Well, I don't
thank
think I don't know whether that is an assumption. I mean, you could
Oh
you
my
could say,
God.
well, it's an
Y'all can
inference. Listen, it's an inference based on evidence, isn't it? You've ridden the bus before. Normally there's some standard involved in the selection of bus drivers. So you hope that there isn't going to be a suicidal one that slipped through the net. All the other times you've ridden the bus driver hasn't committed suicide. You've heard about tens of millions of bus journeys where drivers haven't committed suicide. You have a series of good reasons to believe that the driver isn't going to commit suicide. I don't know whether that we could call that just an assumption. To me, that's a logical inference based on the evidence.
You're assuming I ride a bus to work. Already, you've
it's just
failed
an
in your
example,
model.
Raqia. It's irrelevant to how you actually get to work.
Yeah,
I
see
don't
how
think
your
you.
model fails?
I don't think you go to work on a bus because I think that you have a job that requires you to have a vehicle. So, but it's just an example, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just an assumption that makes your model fail on how I get to work. Exactly.
Well, do you have it? I mean,
Jesus Christ.
Could you identify a logical inference based on evidence? I mean, is this something that you accept the existence of in your life, or do you just call it all assumption?
You mean when I answered 5, 6, 7 times in a row? Yes.
Well, no, that was a
everyone makes
question
assumptions.
about do you assume things? But I mean, would you agree that there is such a thing as a logical inference based on evidence? And would you still just call that an assumption?
Call many different things.
Well, because I think an assumption could be something that you have that you just hope to be correct and you have no evidence for. I don't mean it has to be that, but I think it could be that. And so I think if that could be an assumption, then I think it's worth making a distinction between what you're calling another type of assumption that involves a logical inference based on a huge body of evidence. it seems to me they are not the same thing, and they're being termed as if they are.
Well, I can tell you, I used the equipment that the very smart people in this world, the engineers, came up with to create horizontal. I used that same equipment to create a horizontal in the way that they tell us to do it, in the way that I've done it all my life, right? And I've seemed to have been doing it right because I make a living doing it. So I've used the technologies. I've done it in a way that I've proven to myself over my lifetime to work, to disprove what I've been told about how water curves, right? That's why I don't believe the other stuff. The things that I can't test, told to me by the people that tell me that water is curving, I no longer trust. Why should I? That's how I came to my conclusion. I didn't listen to another guy who went out and measured flat water. I didn't go against the people who created technologies that create a horizontal and went out and did it differently, right? I did it exactly how they say to do it, using the same equipment that they've developed to create this horizontal, and disprove curving water to myself. That's why I don't trust anyone who tells me that water is curving and that they've measured it. I no longer will trust. And if those same people are going to tell me the distance to the sun using some method that's not proven and I can't do myself, then I'm probably not going to trust that. I'm going to lean towards looking for other alternatives. That's what I do.
Now that there makes sense to me. I'll tell you what I did when they told me that a boat disappears at 3 miles. I went and out on a lake and I observed for myself and I saw, no, this does not happen. You can follow the boat clear out to 5, 6, maybe even 7 miles, and you don't see it disappearing behind the curve. That's how I proved it to myself.
Since the room is going quiet, I'll tell, when I first went out as a glober, so to speak, I was always taught this. I believed it. I trusted them. I believe there are unbelievably smart people in the world, and a lot of people with imaginations bigger than mine that can come up with things. I totally agree with that. I live by that daily. I use the products that they developed with that imagination and drive to create something in technology. It's amazing, right? I use that technology in a long distance camera to go out and see what I thought was a bulge of water obstructing the distant shore. What I came to find out that there's other technologies that have been developed in how light works that could create that apparent bulge of water that I'm looking at through the other technology of a camera. And then I went back on different days when the atmospheric conditions were different and the shore was there. There was no longer that physical bulge of water in the way. Now, either that is a big wave, shoaling, or some other way that water can bulge in between me and the distant shore, or it was just due to the way light works through the atmosphere. Well, on this particular lake, there are no tides to speak of that would create this huge bulge. There's no shoaling, there's no waves like that. So it had to be the atmospheric conditions. And studying that, I found all types of different ways that the atmosphere can hide things in the distance, sometimes bottom up, sometimes distorting them in a way that they just blink out and disappear, or fade out, or mirage out, or mirror, or reflect, or refract. It's amazing. Everyone should check into it for themselves.
Raqia, can I have a brief point here? Because what you remember my wonderful story that I told Stacy about the kids digging for gold, right? I live in Denmark. We don't have gold, but Minecraft has gold. So the kids thought they would find gold in the backyard, and they didn't. And that's very much what you're doing here, because you're going to the same lake, looking at the same basic things over and over again. Why can't you go up high and do, like the Miles Davis footage? Because that very much shows mountains dipping down behind the curve at a level where you wouldn't have that refraction or atmosphere or light traveling funny ways.
To that, as you increase altitude, you increase the distance that you're viewing, which increases the volume that you're looking through. Angles change. The phenomena change also, but it doesn't mean things don't happen, like objects in the distance appear above or below the horizontal line that you've created with your eyesight or a theodolite or whatever. It does mean that the prominent, something that's going to occur most of the time in those conditions are going to happen more readily because the conditions remain more standard. But drop from horizontal and all that doesn't prove earth curve. It proves drop from horizontal of the horizon. I mean, I don't know how many times y'all are going to use that argument where it's not, and the simple question can be asked, is that earth curve? And y'all have to answer no, because it's not showing earth curve. It's showing the optical effect of how the horizon drops as you rise above the horizon. I mean, I'm confused on that point why y'all keep using it. Why people keep posting obvious miraging effects as GIFs and pictures in this chat, in this very chat, and say, look at earth curve, when it's obvious miraging.
Raqia, would that possibly be because the primary flat earth evidence is that black swan super refracted image with the horizon above the observer? Would that be why people respond with similar stuff?
Who deemed that super refraction? Or on the days that you think fit your model is normal refraction?
I did, and I just told you why.
Yeah, but you can't do that. Neither can I. And
yes,
no observation. Okay, if you let me finish, I'll conclude with no observation is ever gonna tell you or show you the shape of the earth. Only a measurement using the technology given to us by these smart engineers, such as theodolites and lasers,
that was all very funny.
I'm almost done. Can ever give you a chance to create a horizontal plane in free space above a surface, let's say like water, and allow you to measure down to that surface and see if it's sloping or curving or if it's horizontal itself.
That was a lengthy non-answer, Raqia, because what I told you was horizon was clearly above the observer, and the reason I told you that is that I built platforms like that professionally. So I do know that the lower cable deck, the part that becomes somewhat dense up on the lakes, is going to be a good 10 meters above the water level. And when I see a camera placed at 1 foot elevation at the shore, and then I see the platform, and then I see the horizon a good 10-15 meters up those lakes, then I can tell that the straight line from me to those lakes to the horizon means the horizon is above the observer. And if horizon is above the observer, that can only ever be by refraction unless you're going with concave Earth.
No, that's just the atmospheric conditions of the day. The horizon.
Yes, that's called refraction.
You cut me off again.
No.
It's the third time. I've gone on mute every time you've spoken. So the horizon, or the ground, which is part of what makes up a horizon, and the ceiling, which in this case is the sky, which is much higher than the ground. Let's say the observer is 8 or 12 foot above the ground, and the sky is thousands and thousands of feet, are going to create this illusion. You cut me off again. That's the fourth time.
Raqia,
I promise you I'll go on mute when you start talking after I talk. But if you're going to cut me off, we're going to end this conversation.
Yes,
because I'll be blamed for cutting you off.
Raqia,
I'm
for
trying
real,
to keep my conversation.
chill out, dude. Chill out.
I almost got through answering. He cut me off twice in that same statement. So as the horizon changes due to the atmospheric conditions and the height of the observer and the angle of the light, You say that's Earth curve. I say it's just an optical illusion caused by the conditions of the day.
Right. And now you're done, right? So what I told you.
Yeah, I went on mute.
Yeah. And what I told you, what is the fact of the black swan image, is that camera is set on a rock that is 1 foot off the water. So the elevation of the observer is 1 foot. And if the horizon is above 1 foot up those lakes, then it is above the observer. And that is called refraction. So it is a clearly refracted image.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree. So not Earth curve then.
No, the black swan does not show Earth curve.
Okay, so show the reverse of that. Show the horizon obstructing the oil rig. And what is that?
Well, I mean, Jesus Christ.
No, hang on. I asked Sort.
Those you've seen.
Hang on. Someone cut in on our conversation, Sort. I asked you a direct question, Sort. On the day that hang on, we're almost there. We're really close.
Yeah. You know, this is a room full of people, Raqia.
I'll talk to you in a minute.
No, I have no interest. I have no
I'll
interest
finish
in
this with
engaging in a
Sort,
long
and then we can talk.
conversation with you. It's
So-
just dishonest.
so Sort-
It is just dishonest of you.
Do you
to
hear this
pretend
guy?
like those
Jim, where you
images
at?
don't
Come on,
exist.
Lewis. You're cutting in, bro. Give him 5 seconds.
Maybe if he gave me 5 seconds to cut.
I will.
He
I
said
already
he
agreed
will.
to.
He said he will, Lewis.
I was in
clearly
the
heard him.
middle of my question to Sort when you cut in. Sort, on the day that the physical water appears to obstruct the oil rigs in the distance, what do you call that? Is that Earth curve or refraction, sir?
Sorry, say that again. You cut out a little bit.
Sure, fair enough. We've already agreed that the day that the horizon appears higher than the viewer, that's refraction. I agree with you. On the day that the horizon appears to obstruct the objects in the distance, what do you call that? Refraction or Earth curve?
It's not refraction because
Okay, I'm done.
It's not refraction because refraction is the phenomenon that lifts shit from far away. So it's not going to be that.
So
Could it
one day
be-
it's definitely refraction. On another day, when it fits your model, it's not.
C4 literally just posted a picture.
Yeah, what I said was it didn't fit either model, and thereby it has to be something else, right? And that was, we agreed on that.
Question?
We
Was
agreed
that
on
a question to me?
for the black swan, only for the black swan, but we agreed on that. Then you said if it matches up, what I think I would observe one day, do I say it's not refraction? Well, no. What I would say is that the refraction phenomena is lifting shit. And clearly it does not lift the foreground, but not the background. That would be rare or not at all possible.
But does happen, right?
There is another phenomenon called sinking that could cause that. I agree. And we do have images of very, very large bulges that are definitely not what's real in either model.
So refraction.
It's not that it can't happen. It's that you insist on looking at shit at sea level where where we just agreed. Weird shit happens all the time with the optics.
Refraction, not Earth curve. We're both agreeing that it's always refraction. The only person inserting something else that we don't agree with is you.
No, it's you, Raqia. You're a fucking moron.
I didn't insert anything.
You lost already.
Said there was a curve. I never actually said it. Obviously, I believe it, but I did not say that in any of the images. It just said if the horizon is above the observer, it doesn't matter.
That's not true, sir. I'm going to call you out on that because I asked you very specifically.
Did you just cut him off, Raqia?
I'm going to ask you very specifically.
Stop cutting people off, Raqia. Fucking whinge about it, and then you go and fucking cut people off. Don't be a fucking hypocrite. Don't be a fucking hypocrite.
Hey, just because I swore doesn't mean you have to.
So, Sort, the one time that I asked you,
I'm Australian.
So the one time that I asked you, Sort, the physical object of water rising up and blocking the distant oil rig, I asked you if that was refraction or Earth curve, and you said that wasn't refraction, which implied Earth curve, correct?
No, just that you created the dichotomy does not mean that I say it's the other. it means that I say it's not one of those things, and then I very specifically said, there were other optical phenomena, such as sinking, that could cause a larger bulge than even the curved model would explain, right?
Yeah, right. You agreed. You actually double spoke. You said, no, that's not refraction, but refraction could cause that effect. It's a double speak.
Raqia, not remaining within the dichotomy that you placed is not double speaking. It is saying something else than the dichotomy that you created. That's not double speaking.
I asked you a very specific question, and you said no, that's Earth curve, and then went on to double speak and hang on, I'm almost done. I'm being fair to you. And then went on to go describe the ways that it could have been refraction, which was my point in the first place. It's only and always refraction.
Like, there's two options. You're either lying or you're retarded, Raqia. Like, that's it. And there's no more of a conversation to have with you.
Who is this guy trying to shut down the conversation?
It's me, Raqia.
Lewis, come on, bro. You just got a house.
You have to be an either or, Lewis.
You used to be more kind.
Oh, now Curve is going to jump in and not talk about the subject at all.
I'm Raqia. I'm going to editorialize everything that happens to me because I'm a goddamn drama queen.
No, as I was saying, you created the dichotomy of either refraction or Earth curve. And I said there are other optical phenomena. Some of them are more rare, but they do happen. I
would
never
be
said
refraction, correct?
You created that dichotomy where whenever I said I don't think that is refraction, then it means I think it is Earth curve.
Your belief in a model creates that, not mine. I believe in refraction.
Yeah, you created that dichotomy, and then you tried to force me into admitting that I said that. I did not say that is Earth curve. I never said that. I said, and as I started this conversation, that at the water level, at the sea level, is not a good place to observe anything because we have very good evidence that shit goes all over the place because of optics. And then I explained to you how the Black Swan had shit going all over the place by optics. And then you asked if it looks some other way, does it go all over the place by optics? And I agreed.
You said no. You said that's basically Earth curve. You didn't. I'm not going to put. No. You said it's very rare.
I said no to
meaning
one specific explanation. I did not say generally no to optics. I said no to one specific explanation that you offered.
So can we discard every observation taken from low altitude based on what you're telling me now over water as Earth curve? Can we disregard all those?
For my sake, yeah, go on, do that.
There you go.
So
not Earth curve then.
You might want to consider letting other people speak now and then, especially when you're doing what you're doing right now.
Yeah,
especially when you're getting destroyed. That's your handler, telling you you're getting destroyed and to take a break.
No, he's not getting destroyed.
What's your explanation, Raqia, for this obstruction?
Atmospheric conditions causing refraction. And
I don't want a word. I don't want term. I want an explanation. Do you have one?
You want me to explain something without using words?
Details. No.
VC.
I want more than you just dropping a couple terms.
How am I gonna do that? Let's see. I could make.
You asked me a question. You don't want an answer.
You asked me to give you an explanation on VC without using words.
I did not, and I'm trying to explain that. That is not what I said.
To understand that.
As you keep rambling through me, you retard.
He said, please
listen, I said you're just using a couple terms.
Please explain to me.
I'm in the process of doing so. Why are you talking over me?
No, I was repeating your question. I'm trying to understand it. Please explain to me.
Well, let him say it.
Clarify, you don't understand it.
Blue, you're just getting here, Blue. Calm down, man. Don't spiral so quickly.
I'm not. I've been listening to this for about an hour now, Raqia.
So, Raqia,
So
the explanation
what he said,
using
and you heard what he
words, not just a couple terms, not just derping out atmospheric conditions. Give an explanation, explain things, give us some details. How is this obstruction caused by your claims?
I understand. On certain days, the temperature variations and the like the angle of the light source, the viewer height, the angle of the viewer, due to on a distant object, it can be over land or water, but over water it happens more readily, and I believe in a shorter distance on most occasions. The distorted light, like how the gas is mixed in the lower more dense atmosphere, how that light gets distorted, obstructs things bottom up sometimes, and also makes them kind of blur out or blink out in other times, which happens at a closer distance to the viewer than what Earth curve would be doing on the given model, right? On your model. So it proves that it's atmospheric conditions doing that. And that's why I believe that. That's how I explain it. Now, as you gain altitude and you look in a further distance, you may get that close up image to be clear and not be distorted even at the bottom, or appear to. But a lot of times those are mirages also that you can't decipher until you zoom out to the further distances, and you can see that things are getting all distorted, usually bottom up, but not always. And then sometimes it's obstructed where you can't zoom in on it. The information is so distorted at a close distance that you never can zoom that distance object back in. It happens in so many different ways. It's because we live in a very dynamic system.
Is this vague, ambiguous, non-answer going to end?
If you zoom in on a curved line enough, the line becomes straight.
Now, Raqia, if you could refer to the image that C4 posted where there's clear obstruction of the more distant oil rig platform.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir. I'm looking at it.
All right. Now, you're claiming that the missing part of the platform is due to distortion. Now, we clearly see the water, the horizon line, and clearly see the visible portion of the platform with no area of distortion vertically in the image in between fuzzing something out. How does your explanation apply to this image, sir?
Yeah, I understand. On different days, that image, if you take it on different days, that image will drastically change.
How about on
if you
this
go to
day, this image? How does your explanation, as you like to think it is, how does it play?
You mean on this day, the atmospheric conditions are causing this optical effect. On a different day, the atmospheric conditions are going to cause a different optical effect, and that oil rig in the distant background is going to appear differently. The oil rig in the foreground is going to appear differently.
Explain the obstruction on a flat Earth in this image.
Yeah, the atmospheric conditions of that day are causing those optical effects that distorts and hides, obstructs the bottom of that oil rig in the distance
no distortion
because it's further away.
There's no fuzzy, distorted area making you unable to see like portions of it. You have the water and then the platform, and the platform is visible, what you see of it.
You're saying the distant object at this zoom is not distorted and fuzzy? Sure it is.
Where is the distorted part that you can't see? Why is it below the water that you can see?
It's not below the water. That's the optical
Then where
effect.
is it? Point to it in the image.
Well, you can see it.
Oh, the bottom of the platform is above the top of the water.
It can be doing all kind of different things on different days, yeah.
In
It's
this
just the way
image,
it appears.
the missing portion that you cannot see is in the image above the water line.
No, what I'm saying is the water appears in between the two oil rigs is a big distance, right? You probably don't know the distance, right? But can you give it to me?
The distance is not important, not to you.
Wait, the distance isn't important. Wait a minute. Come
No,
on,
because what we're talking about is what you can see and can't see vertically in the image.
What we're saying is the distance is important, unlike what you said. Anytime you have a distance in between two objects, you can have effects of the atmosphere happening in that distance, sir. It can happen within hundreds of feet, much less 3 or 4 or 5 miles.
Okay, and what is the cause of this that you are describing something that we are not seeing?
The way the known atmospheric conditions affect light.
That is a bullshit, ambiguous, vague question.
So you don't agree that the atmosphere affects the light?
I agree that, the human head weighs about 8 pounds.
Yeah, but
So
you saw
what?
that in a movie. You've never measured a human head.
You're rambling, irrelevant nonsense.
No, you're
You
saying things
claim
that
that
aren't
they're
true. You're denying
distortion.
science.
So far, the only thing you really tried to pin down is that it's distortion,
Distorted
causing
light,
the
yeah, mirrored light,
obstructed.
mirages, yeah.
As you cut me off
For the first
How-
time.
You like that? You like that?
For the first time, and you made a big deal
So
out
why
of
do
it
you
like
do
a
it,
baby.
Raqia? Why do you do it? That's not your first time.
We're about even right now. That's why the conversation is going pretty good.
It's not about keeping score, Raqia. It's about you being a fucking hypocrite. Now,
Yeah, it's about
where
you
is
making
the
a big deal out of
distortion
that.
in this image that's blocking us from seeing the part of the platform that we cannot see?
There's distortion in every image, and in this image, I would say it's happening in between the first and second oil rig within that distance.
I
The
am not.
water and the as you cut me off.
I don't mean to cut you off rudely, but I will cut you off because this is over. I'm not going to bore the room with showing what a lying fucking moronic retard you are any further.
It's a tactic, Jim. That's a tactic, Jim. You should step in. He's got to end it with demeaning me because he lost the argument. Everyone knows.
Somebody else play with the retard.
I'll
done.
summarize real quick. I'll summarize.
He's
can
not
go
worth
back.
the effort, Curved.
You can go back on a different day at the same viewer height using the same zoom, and that second oil rig will appear differently. Sometimes it will be obstructed more. Sometimes it will be obstructed less. Sometimes it won't be obstructed at all. Sometimes the horizon beyond that second oil rig will appear to be higher than the oil rig. That's due to atmospheric conditions of the day, the viewer height, and the angle of the light source only, not Earth curve. Thank you. Oh, and by the way, you can prove this to yourself by going to that exact location on different days and seeing that effect that I just described. Thank you. You've been a great audience.
You've been an idiotic speaker.
No, I'm giving you something you can go out and prove yourself.
No,
You
you're
just
not giving
choose
us
not
anything
to.
but bullshit.
As you cut me
Nothing
off.
but. No, yeah, I will cut you off because you do it all
I
the
know you
fucking
will.
time. You're a hypocrite, Raqia.
I know you'll cut me off and then blame it on
You're
me.
a
I know
fucking
that.
hypocrite, and people are going to cut you off because you're just a whinger. Get a wambulance.
No, most people cut me off because they don't
Someone
like what
called
I'm
a
saying.
wambulance.
As
Who
you
gives a
cut me off
fuck what
again.
you've got? Yeah, I'm going to cut you off every time you start talking from here on out. How about that? Because you're a fucking idiot.
All that'll do is prove how the mods
Oh,
are
I'm sorry.
biased here.
I'm sorry. I didn't hear what you said because I was cutting you off.
Yeah, as you cut me off and disclaim
Yeah, I
that
don't
you're
really
going to
give a
do
fuck.
it,
Go and
the only
whinge
thing that's
about
going
it.
to prove
Whinge
is how
about
the
it.
mods
Whinge a
are
little
biased
more.
here.
Whinge
Yeah,
a
see how the
little more.
mods are biased here?
Whinge a little more.
The very person I was just talking to, Curved, is a mod here and is not going to do anything about a person that
Yeah, he's not.
said
Well, he might.
he's going to do
He
it on
might.
purpose to
You never
destroy
know.
the conversation on VC that's created for a conversation. He's a mod here and won't do anything.
You're not having a conversation. You're just babbling.
Anybody else want to talk?
Yeah, I'd like to say, as an outside observer, it seems to me really very silly to have one picture represent a whole world view.
I don't think that's what Curve was doing here. He was just giving this as an example of how the refraction, the atmospheric effects of the day can cause the appearance of obstruction of the distance oil rig. So to be fair to Curve, I don't think that's what he was doing. He was just trying to present a picture that closely relates to what his belief is.
As I said, as an outside observer, it seems very strange that people would pick one picture to represent their whole worldview.
I agree with you, actually. It is strange, especially when they haven't done it themselves. They're using someone else's picture to support their worldview. And when shown that on that very position at the same viewer height with the same zoom, that their worldview can change due to the atmospheric conditions of the day, they don't trust it. That is strange.
All right, I'm
and
back.
make up excuses for it.
As usual,
Finish
irony
up.
goes completely over some people's heads. You know, it's typical that you would choose such a poor piece of evidence as a plank for your worldview.
I'm a little lost myself, McBud, which is why when I just heard what you said, I came back in.
Yeah, cool. Go ahead, Curved. Sorry.
Who's choosing this to represent their worldview? Who are you getting at?
Well, I've seen this thing called the Black Swan, this picture, and it seems from all the arguments I've heard from flat earthers that they rely on it very, very heavily to support their worldview. And it seems extremely, short-sighted, fill in the blanks, to use just one image that is a particularly bad image as a support for your worldview.
Did you hear what Raqia and I were talking about, the photo we were discussing?
No, I came in right at the end. I did assume it was the Black Swan image.
Yeah, it's a different one where there's a pretty clear shot that shows clear obstruction of the more distant platform, more notably.
Pretty
And
clear
that's
shot.
what we were talking about.
The distance all rig is all blurry and distorted.
But nevertheless, Curved, it doesn't really matter because my point still stands. The Black Swan image is a very poor image if you want to base your whole worldview on it.
Oh yeah, well that point that's true. I won't argue with that, but I just get a kick out of Raqia arguing that distant oil rig that we can see is all distorted, and the part of it that we can't see is gone because it's distorted, but there's no distortion area there in place of
with that
the
focal length.
obstructed part that is clearly below the water line.
Yeah, with that cherry pick focal length of a snapshot of a video, probably. Because when you zoom into that second oil rig curve, which you don't know,
nonsense incessantly.
I would suggest that you go get a camera and zoom in on that day that obstruction is
Raqia,
happening.
I wasn't talking to you, by the way. I was talking to McBud.
You were talking about our conversation, which gives me the right. And anybody
I was talking to McBud. You can say whatever you want. Just know
thank you.
I was not speaking to you and you're not responding to me.
Can I say whatever I want without you interrupting me, maybe?
I am gone again. You can
see you later,
have all the time you want.
Bye. Maybe call me an idiot before you leave. Yeah, if you zoom into that second oil rig, right, it will get blurrier and blurrier. It won't get clearer and clearer on that day. It's been my experience because the focal length is such that it's making the foreground appear clear and the background appear blurry. So the conditions of the day are causing that. How the light source angle, the viewer height, the distortion near the water, the temperatures of the water and the air are all causing this image to appear like it is under that focal length. When you change that focal length, it all changes. Everything changes. That's why the foreground is blurrier, because it's a greater distance and more air, gases are mixing and temperature variations are happening and refractive effects are happening. So you're losing that information.